important to where they go. They could put whoever in defence, you know. Nat Phillips has had a bit of a run at times, and every game he's played, he hasn't exactly looked bad. I mean, like Ozan Kabak was not the right signing. He is not a good defender. He has got a future because he's only 20 years old.
Yeah, he's really young, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, he's 20 years old. However, he's just come from Schalke.
Yeah,
Schalke can't buy a win. They've had one victory since February 2020.
Yeah. Definitely not. Like if you want to replace somebody in defense, that's not the team that you would go. Was that kind of a panic signing a little bit?
Yeah,
it feels like it.
Well, it's sort of panic, and because it's a loan with an option to buy, it goes to show that FSG don't want to spend any money. And if they did, they're Liverpool Football Club. They have just won the Champions League 2 seasons ago. They just won the Premier League at a canter. They can have whoever they want, anyone they want. So spend the money. And I look at Arsenal in that respect, where Arsenal last won a title in 2004. Did they invest? No. But you look at Man City, Man United, Chelsea, over the years, every time they won the title, the following that summer, they invest. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily get out the dead wood. They contain the players, but they retain their players, but then they add to it. Bring more competition, bring more energy, bring more excitement to not just the players, but to the fans as well. So then the expectation's there. Everyone grows, everyone moves together. And Liverpool haven't done that. They've pretty much got the stock club, the stock players that they've had for the last 2-3 years. And they're probably knackered.
No, well, this is it. And the squad rotation was zero, even at the best of times. Like, it was always, you could name the starting 11 every week. So there wasn't even like Klopp was rotating in the first place. Yeah, it's going to be a rough end to the season for Liverpool, I think. They should still get top 4, I would think.
They're only 5 points off. That's what everyone forgets. We're saying how bad they are and how they're doing this and how they're doing that. They're 5 points away from top 4. And the team in that fourth place at the moment is West Ham. Can you see West Ham sustaining that?
Speaking of West Ham, we're going to move on to West Ham. Let's talk about West Ham.
From 2 Arsenal fans.
What's a segue?
I feel like a few viewers.
Not my first rodeo, right? Now, I am loving seeing West Ham doing this well. I am absolutely loving it. I think it's mad that the second the fans are at the ground, all of a sudden they can play football.
Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really weird, really weird. But I think, not just because I've got a mate who supports West Ham, but I think it's good to see they're the best team in London at the minute. It's the first time since it's been that, right?
Yeah, since they won the World Cup in 1966, isn't it?
Exactly.
Oh no, the Billy Bonds team of '81. Yeah, they did all right as well. But no, it is quite nice to see other clubs, not just West Ham. You know, I know we're going to be talking about West Ham and Spurs, but it's just nice to see other clubs up there. You know, Villa, they had a great start to the season. You know, they've tailed off a little bit, but they're still up there. Southampton, you know, they're languishing in 13th at the moment, but a run that puts them right back in the mix again because they're not exactly that far behind. Leeds, the media darlings, you know, they're up there as well. So it's not just your traditional clubs that are vying for those top 6 positions. So for West Ham, avoiding relegation by the skin of their teeth at the end of last season, to be hanging around doing their thing without a decent, proper, recognised striker as well. Yeah, it's great.
It's mad. It's mad. Like the fact that, like, Antonio, for me, should be getting a shout for the Euros by this point. He should be getting at least his name mentioned, I think. If Bamford is, I think it's only fair that Antonio should be, I'll be honest.
I think Antonio is a bit of a Roy the Rovers sort of player, though. You know, he's a bit of a Roy the Rovers sort of player. Yeah, but I think he's like a failed right back who's just quite big. So
he's such an unknown. I honestly think if you brought him on, people would panic a little bit. Like if you had him on the bench and brought him on for the last 20 minutes, I think defenses would struggle to deal with him more than a Patrick Bamford, I think. But anyway, you're right. For him to be carrying their sole attacking responsibility is pretty mental. And because everyone said when they didn't buy one, everyone thought they'd drop off, right? But,
yeah. Was this win more a praise to West Ham or more what the heck towards Tottenham in your opinion, guys?
Nah, I've got to take hats off to West Ham in that situation. I mean, I'm not the biggest Spurs fan in the world, being a Gooner, of course, but I thought Tottenham had made a really good account of themselves. Yeah. They did it in the first game when they drew 3-0 up in that game. And it was a bit of luck and, you know, a bit of drive from West Ham, but Tottenham, over the course of these 2 games, deserve 6 points, and they've walked away with 0.
Okay, I thought the first half West Ham were fairly comfortably kind of
the
better side, but then the second half Spurs brought on Bale. He kind of brought a bit of life, looked a bit promising, but was all a bit too little, too late. I don't know.
We spoke about it in our show yesterday because that Gareth Bale strike that hit the apex of the bar. I'll tag you guys in the tweet. Because we made a little, I've been chopping up the video and I'll just put a little bit of it. But yeah, I hammered Gareth and Spurs fans at it. I just love seeing Spurs messing around. Honestly, it's great. They think that they were top of the league at one point as well, and they beat Man City, and since then they just screwed it up. And now, we're rubbing shoulders with them, and we're having a bad season.
We're having our worst. I have to keep repeating it to the Spurs fans that are currently watching. We are having our worst season ever, and we're still only 2 points behind you. Yeah. So,
and what about Messi, good old Messi Lingard, playing guitar, celebrating like the good old days, scoring in great form? Like I saw this stat, there were a bunch of other Man U players that were always preferred to him at Man U. Since he left, they've all scored less goals than him, and he's living the life in London. Feels like the perfect fit for him.
He's even got Pablo Fornals vibes in. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's teaching him the kind of dance moves that is smashing out on TikTok and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? I'm loving it. Honestly, hey, look, he's an up and coming player. Jesse Lingard, young lad.
Still got plenty of promise. We've got big hopes for 2030. We think that's really going to be his year.
Future Ballon d'Or winner, honestly. But no, he is a confidence player, and you got to think that England side from the World Cup 2018, he was a key member of that side. How embarrassing is that?
Mental.
About it. Him, Dele Alli, both it's awkward, isn't it? But it's true, and I think he just wants to play every week. He loves football. He enjoys football. So he's not a Man United star player.
No.
But he's found his level, and I know West Ham are punching way above their weight at the moment, but a club like West Ham is his level. And if he stays at a club like West Ham for the rest of his career and just enjoys football, then I don't think he'll have anything to moan about.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think there was stories that he was having a bit of a rough time the past year in Manchester and things weren't going great for him. So I think maybe a fresh break is a good thing for him. I always since he danced at the Emirates, I've never particularly liked him, but I do. There's a part of me that quite likes seeing him do well, as long as it's not against us again.
I sort of like him because he won me a few quid when they beat Palace in the in the FA Cup final. So I had some wedge on him.
That's what everybody remembers.
That'll do it. Yeah.
That's what everybody remembers Lingard for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
when he made Gav win a couple hundred quid.
Same with 4M1T, Formats 1 Toffee. They had Chris from there on the pod yesterday, and me and him we were talking about FA Cup successes and stuff, and like Wigan sorted me out in 2013. They were 9-1. I thought, I'm putting 30 quid on that for a laugh.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a punt, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know why I thought 30 quid. 83rd minute, bam, header, bam. Bam. Sleep on that.
But before we move on from the Prem, well, we need to talk about Arsenal, seeing as we are both Arsenal fans.
We've got Rory. Don't worry, we've got 11 minutes. Andrea is watching us, and he said he can wait a second. So
I don't want to talk about it for 11 minutes, but
no, don't talk about.
There's been a lot of Arsenal fans patting themselves on their back for only losing 1-0. How do you feel about this? It's been winding me up all day.
Quite sad, isn't it? It's quite sad.
Feel so pathetic.
Can I say something about this game? I want to apologize to Rory because I was kind of a dick the other day. But we were here at my house.
Which time was that?
We watched throughout the entire day. We watched the Inter AC derby, and after that, you can imagine my mood. And then there is Arsenal Man City on, and it was the first minute was really fun, and then I was like kind of struggling to keep up with the game. I was like, I'm out there with football right now, and I'm kind of being redimensioned.
Right. Now, Tommy, you just said that the first minute was fun.
yeah.
You are here with two gooners, right?
You know, the funny thing is, right? I literally said to Tommy, I said, well, you know what? If we can just keep it tight the first 5 minutes, I reckon we'll be all right. Because we always concede against them early, right? We always concede against them early. And it was like 1 minute, I was like, 82 seconds. Good work, guys.
I was at the League Cup final when we got pumped by them and they scored in the first 30 seconds. I just got to my seat. I had to nip my beer really quickly because obviously at football grounds in the UK you can't have a beer and a fag while you're watching the game. You know, that's why I love going to Italy and Germany at that as well. But yeah, so I'll neck this beer so quickly. I'm bloated. I'll get to my seat. Just in time for kickoff, lovely. I said to my mate, I was like, Tone, if we keep it tight for the first 5-10, it's a final. I fancy us.
Yeah.
So
sit down, get straight back up again.
Exactly. I might just go back to the boozer. But look, inside 5 minutes, Sterling could have had a hat-trick. How sad is that?
We need to talk about Tierney, right? Tierney got absolutely torn to pieces for that first 5 minutes. It's the first time I've seen him genuinely struggle. And I was like, oh, God, this guy is on his arse. Like, I hope they're not rushing him back to fitness again like we have been doing forever. Like, yeah,
because, like, he came off the bench against Benfica the last 20 minutes, half hour. And he was just trying to feed himself into the game. To come straight back into a City game. That's a tough ask. It's only been a couple of days as well. That's from Budapest, and then I imagine he's going to be on the plane as well out to Athens for the home game. You know, I don't understand that. Apparently, there was a choice. We could have played both legs in Poland, or Budapest, or Athens.
Right.
So coming from Portugal on the same time zone as us, why don't we just go to Poland?
Yeah, honestly, and then away goals still count.
Away goals still count, yeah.
So we could concede, and this is how we're going to go out. We are going to go out on away goals in Athens because they've scored at our home stadium in Athens. That's how we're going to go out.
That's right.
That's exactly how we're going to go out.
You guys, come on.
Look, I can see it from a mile off. I can see it.
There's no confidence with Arsenal fans at the moment. Honestly, everything. Our confidence is so bereft. But no, going back to the Tierney thing, it's a bit like the Gabriel, because Gabriel at the beginning of the season, we're all saying, oh, bloody hell, what a great defender he is. You know, he's doing all right, he's doing this and doing that. I don't think he's our best defender anyway. I personally think our best defender is Pablo Mari, because I watch football everywhere and everywhere. I even, I will pay attention to South American football, and I watched him a few times, and I was thinking, yeah, I like him because he's at Flamengo, and then his name started getting banded around a little bit more over here when the World Club Cup was on, the Liverpool versus Flamengo game, and they were saying on telly and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, Pablo Mari, was once on the books at Man City or blah blah blah. So like, I knew of him, and when we signed him, I was thinking, and he proved it, because I was thinking it's going to take a little bit of time for him to adjust, but he's old school. He doesn't try and do anything silly. He's just going to get the ball, lob it into Rosette if he has to. He will look for a pass, but if he can't find one, he's not going to be like, oh, I need to turn around and pass it back to Leno. Or no, he doesn't do that, and I love him for it. But Gabriel, since he's come back from his injury, he has looked like prime Titus Bramble, man.
Yeah,
not good.
He has looked pretty shaky. And you do start to wonder whether, we're just going to turn all defenders into average defenders. It is slightly worrying. And I think the performance, like getting back to the kind of patting ourselves on the back for a 1-0 loss, we've come this far, right? We can only go back one way, hopefully. But do we need to give City a lot of credit, or do we need to actually give Arsenal credit of the fact that we kept it to 1?
Don't need to give either team credit. I mean, like, City did what they need to do in the first 10, 15 minutes. They'll be annoyed. They'll be very pissed off that they didn't get 2 or 3. Arsenal have nothing to be proud of that result because they didn't even... Look, City didn't get out of second gear. They didn't. We didn't put any pressure on them to make something happen. Bukayo Saka had another good game. Shock. But, now Pep's putting a load of praise on him. What if his head gets turned? That's what our panic is. So if head does get turned, can we have someone in return? That's not Zinchenko. So...
Preferably about 150 million and De Bruyne, please. Yeah.
I think I might accept that. But no, Arsenal, I really wanted us, like, we played against Southampton really well in the wrong game. We should have just, like, we know that we're not going to get anywhere, do anything special in the league. So why the hell not just go all out for the FA Cup. It's a trophy at the end of the day. I mean, like when these players finish